What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode with Buzz with your boys Brandon and Jacob. We're gonna get right into it. College football playoffs, man. We're just waiting on the national championship game that will take place Monday, January 19th, 6:30 p.m., 7:30 Eastern time, between the University of Indiana and Miami. Now we go recap. The Fiesta Bowl was the Miami versus Ole Miss. Miami was able to come out on top of that game, 31-27. And then the Peach Bowl was Oregon and Indiana, where Indiana laid the smackdown on Oregon. Like 56 points on Oregon, and it was a total, utter domination from start to finish for the University of Indiana. And listen, the spread for the national championship game is, what was it, 8 points, I think you said?
8.5 points.
8.5 points for Indiana. Take the points, run with it. They're going to cover that and then some. Like I said, national championship game. I don't see as a football person, I don't see how Miami can win this game. I don't know what they can do defensively, and they're very limited offensively. I don't think they can keep up with Indiana. I don't like. I'm trying to be somewhat fair here, but I just don't see a scenario for Miami in this situation against this high octane power offense and this very, very hungry defense of Indiana. Like I don't know how to really examine Miami against
The
this.
only chance Miami has is to win in a shootout. They're not going to win in a defensive battle. Like, you're not stopping Indiana's offense. You're just not. They might get a couple. Maybe if they're lucky, they might get a turnover or two. They might get luck out to a fumble or a bad throw. But Miami's going to have to. Carson Beck's going to have to play out of his mind.
Well, when I think back to Miami, when I think back to Ole Miss, game, they dominated the time of play, and it was a 4-point game. Like you dominated, and you barely won. I just don't see you being able to do that against Indiana. Like you're gonna have.
Well, they're not going to be able to run the ball on Indiana like they were able to run the ball on Ole Miss, and like that's a thought. Like, oh, maybe Miami will just run the ball and control the clock. They did that, and they barely beat Ole Miss with all the coaching and players in the portal that Ole Miss had going on there. You have Indiana with the Heisman winner. That defense stands no chance. It's going to be a high scoring game. Like, Miami's going to put up points for sure.
I honestly think Miami's gonna. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be similar to the Oregon game. I think Miami's gonna put up 20 some points, but I think Indiana's gonna put up in that 40 to potentially 50-point range. There's just look at what Indiana's been able to do to their opponents in this format. They've dominated.
Yep. They beat Bama 38-3. Then they turn around and they beat Oregon 56-22. There's a reason why they're the number one seed in the playoffs and the number one seed in the power rankings.
Yeah.
To me, the Miami has to have so many things go their way. Like, they're going to need special teams. They're going to have to come up with whether it's a block or a return touchdown. And they're going to have to be able to shut down a portion of Indiana's
And like
offense.
You said, Carson Beck's going to have to be almost like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Like you're going to have to go.
He's going to have to play the best game of his life to have a chance to beat Indiana. Like they're the 10th seed for a reason. They were almost left out of the playoffs, and then they're going against the number one team in the nation. Indiana should throttle them. Now next year, like, Indiana probably won't be in this situation. Yeah, being in the playoffs. It's kind of one of those blimp in the radar teams. But regardless, they're here, and I got Indiana taking it with
ease, relatively ease, like at least three scores, right? 3 scores,
almost 3 scores.
That's where I'm rocking. Like I think it's going to be at least 3 scores. I think it's going to be similar to the Oregon game. I just think they're going to get outmatched by, instead of like talent, they're going to get beat by chemistry and guys that know how to play with one another. Like, because they've been doing it for a couple of years. There's continuity. There's chemistry. They're very well coached. They're very well disciplined. They're not. When you think about Indiana, it's 2 stars and 3 stars. When you think about everybody else that they've beaten, they've taken out 4 stars and 5 stars with ease. like ease. Like they were not even 4 or 5 stars.
I mean, Indiana already knocked out the number 9 seed Bama and the number 5 seed Oregon, and Oregon looked really great going into that game.
Yeah.
After throttling Texas Tech 23-0, throttling James Madison 51-3, and then Indiana said, "That's cool. Here's a 50 burger on you, Oregon."
Yep.
And
so
that was that.
That is the national championship game coming up. Like I said, it's Monday, January 19th, 6:30 p.m., 7:30 Eastern time. So it's going to be right after the NFL playoffs, so they're not going to have to worry about nothing right on that Monday. It'd be a perfect slot for them to come in with the expansion of college football playoffs. Now, moving on, sticking on college football, there's a lot of stuff to talk about here with this college format that's been going on that's got Brandon super excited. It's looking like college football is looking like it's trending to a 16-team format. But then there's talks in a few years or even sooner that we're going to be moving to a 24-team. I don't know how we're going to, like, what, we're just going to put the top 25 in and just let it ride? Like, is that what we're doing here? Like, it clearly seems like we're moving towards a 16-team playoff match within the next 2 years. So it's like, what is your thinking, and why do you think that this is the direction that they're trying to go? Like, I get money grab, but like, at a certain point, like, look at what we're getting.
Well,
like,
I think the NCAA in the college football format, I think they did it wrong. I think they jumped it to 12 too fast. Like they expanded it, and I think they expanded it too dramatically too quickly.
Yes.
And I say that because I pair it to the NFL when they added a third wild card team.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that third wild card team has never won a game. A 2 seed has never lost to a 7 seed since they've done it. So it's really for show. It's all for naught. Like that team never wins. There's a reason why you're the 2 seed in the AFC or the NFC, and there's a reason why you're the 7th seed. The same reason why there's a reason why you're the 12th or 11th seed, a la a 16 through like 14 seed. Like they're watering down bowl games. They're watering down the college football playoffs where nobody's going to care to watch the first 2 rounds because no one cares to watch the first round with the 2 G5 schools that get in. Yeah. And then the second round, more people tune in and watch. Well, if you go to a higher
format, does that mean you're going to get more G5 schools in? Is like where are we?
I don't think they're going to allow more G5 schools in by bumping it up to.
Because it looks like we're going to 16. It looks like that's going to be inevitable at this point. But it's just more like.
But at what point is enough? Like there's not enough time in the year, the time in the football season.
Well, that's what I'm trying to look at too, because
in.
I'm trying to compare it to the 12 team. The national championship game is on Monday, right after the NFL. Like you're diving into like you're not going to beat the NFL. I'm sorry, you're just.
So they would have to start it. The college football playoffs would have to start sooner. So the season almost would have to start sooner. So then it sounds like maybe potentially you would have to, because a lot of teams have 2 bye weeks.
Yeah.
So you would have to potentially lose one of those bye weeks. You had to be able to fit in the college football format when you're bumping it up to 16 teams or to 24. You might as well just let the top 25 in.
Teams. You played the national championship game on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So now you're way past that. You're 2 weeks past that basically.
But you know how much more football that's putting on these young athletes?
Yeah.
It's putting a lot more football on these young athletes' bodies now. People are like, well, they're getting paid. They are getting paid.
But they have to stay at least 3 years in college
so
football.
You're playing almost a full. If you're making a deep college football playoff run, you're playing almost a damn near full regular season schedule of the NFL.
Yes.
So some people look at that as a good thing, but also like you're a young athlete. You're going to acquire more injuries that could potentially be career ending or hinder you to make that leap to the next level. And so that portion I don't like, and the games won't matter. Like the first round, nobody's going to watch.
No.
Second round, nobody's going to watch. There's no upsets of the G5 schools. No upset of the 12 and 11 team winning. There's the same way in college and the NFL. The 7th seed wild card team is not beating the number 2 team.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't happen like this. Like that was perfect in the NFL with the being capped at 6. I just think
that we're way overdoing this. Like I don't think the committee and the people that are running this are looking at what you've already gotten over the last 2 years from the 12-team format. It has not been great. It has not been great. Like, let's
I don't
keep
know how
it
you
a
can
buck.
look at it and you look at it and you say,
You know what? I need
yeah,
16.
I need to add more teams to this. Why? Like, eventually you're going to end up biting the hand that's been feeding you, and nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to tune in to any of these rounds
Yeah.
until we get later on. It's kind of like almost like in the NBA. A lot of people don't turn into game 1, 2, 3, or 4, but they start tuning into game 5, 6, and 7 throughout the series when it's a closeout game.
Most people tune in about that second round. That's when you get the matchups that you're really looking
But even
for.
in the second round, people might skip game 1, 2, and start tuning in around 3 through 7.
Because that's when you get through. So, like I said, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Like I said, it's been a lot of ups and downs. Another thing I want to talk about from college football, Brandon, is the transfer portal. And how do we come about fixing the portal? And what are some ideas that we think? Like, an idea of mine is like, do we make these athletes sign contracts, like 2-year contracts where you're stuck with that program for 2 years? Or, and if you want to leave, you got to give money back because, like, you see some guys that have entered the portal and the team have to renegotiate a deal. Team's like, we're going to sue you, get our money back. And they're like, you know what? Pretty cool about where I'm at right now currently. So it's like, obviously, we need to fix about when the portal opens and when players and coaches.
So I guess your question you're asking is like, how do we fix the NIL?
Yeah, how do you fix the NIL?
How can we make it a little bit more better?
And we're not always just leaving every year. Like, do we need to treat these guys, like pro athletes and make them sign actual contracts? Like, I know they do to a degree, but actual, like, you are with this program, la la la, like, make them sign. Like, you got a 2-year deal. This is what you got.
Yeah,
like, are we approaching something like that? Obviously, I know we need to fix the date. Like I said, when we open the portal, instead of open it during fucking playoff, so people are moving around and you're losing players. Like, we got to move that till after the national championship game, in my personal opinion.
It's just unfortunate that money will always take precedent. But I feel like that with NIL, players are chasing the bag and not necessarily chasing the best spot for them
to develop as a player.
Like, I mean, like, if you are like a stud and like you clearly are showing off that you're that dude, then like you kind of put yourself in a different realm where like you can chase the bag and you're gonna perform wherever you're at. But there's a lot of these guys that are like, 4-star, 5-star caliber guys that come out or they come into college and they kind of like they're not they're not playing very well at one school, but they're getting paid and they want to hit the portal and try to get to a different situation, but they've hopped from freshman to sophomore to junior year. They just keep bouncing around.
Yeah,
I agree with you that I think that there should be some like guarantees and or like you shouldn't be guaranteed. Like you shouldn't be like, here's a 3-year NIL deal with blah blah amount of money. This should be just 1-year deals then. Yeah, I mean, because that's almost really what it is. But if you sign a lucrative, like quote unquote multi-year deal with a program or booster or whatever it is from that program, you're stuck there. But it also shouldn't be getting all the money in a lump sum though either.
No, it should be.
But there should be a penalty to like terminating it. There should be some kind of penalty to go along with it.
There has to.
I think that's the only way to really do it. But I think also coming with that, I think that opens up a door where I think agents need to be involved with that. I mean, like, we're going to pay them like they're pros. You might as well let the agents get their hands into it, help get money managers in there and help them manage that money, help them understand what they're leaving and what potentially could get.
There are some ramifications. We've seen it already. Some guys, went to a thing, left, and wasn't great. Like, there's risk and rewards each way you go, and I just think these young men out here are not understanding that, and we're just chasing a bag instead of trying to develop to get to the next stage.
Well, that's why I feel like when it comes to chasing the bag, like if that's great, you should chase the bag. But that's why I feel like if we're going to pay them like pros, we should allow agents to. They should be able to sign with the top tier pro agencies, bring in money manager or hire a money manager to help you manage your money, so that the money that you are making as a quote unquote as a pro athlete in college sports, you have that money even if you don't go pro. But then I also feel like there should be something like if you can sign a contract. I also feel like to go to the NBA, like you can go and you can do the combine, and then you kind of get your scouting report back, like where you potentially might be drafted.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be some kind of portion of that. Like if you move the transfer portal to after the season, where the quote unquote transfer portal starts now, I think there should be a window to where like you can kind of put the feelings out there to see what your potential is out there, so you don't have so many people hitting the portal. In your mind, you're thinking, "Oh, I can hit the portal and go," but you have all these incoming freshmen and everybody else also hitting the portal.
Yeah.
So I think there should be like maybe like a 14-day window to where like you can put out there, hey, if I leave, what does it look like? And that's where I think like an agent would come into handy in these kinds of scenarios where they can put all the feelers to, the big programs like, what's kind of looking like, what kind of money can you kind of get, or what kind of play time or whatever. I mean, because that's really what it kind of comes down to, which can save a lot of kids. And like, look, like it's really not that great out there. You should stick and stay and get better advice and stop listening to like, the family or like trying to chase another meal. Like, is that another meal worth it when you can potentially make more by sticking it out?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But also out of all that, they gotta stop letting people just play 6, 7 years, 8 years in sports. Like we gotta stop.
We gotta stop. Well, we gotta stop it too, because it's so dumb when you see like a guy that's going on to his 7th or 8th program, like we saw the young man that's going on to his 8th program. He can't remember his name, but they got a quarterback that signed a deal to stay at Ole Miss, but is now being told, well, he can't come back, and now has to potentially, sue to be able to get that money, or if he can come back. If you get your red shirt, I understand your red shirts. Outside of that, you need to be gone within your 5.
Well, there's like some like different things, like obviously if you're redshirted, and then if you're in obviously like injuries.
But just to stay around college football 7, 8 years, I agree. You what are we doing at this point? Like your mid-20s, almost in 30s. It's time to get up out of there. Like,
well, I think they need to also cleanly clarify that up but that also comes back to the NCAA being weak. I think they're being weakened more and more as NIL goes along in these conferences. They're starting to make more and more money.
We need to get an actual committee out here to get things under
control. I think, like I've said before, I think they should just kick the NCAA committee out altogether and have the conferences, and just have the presidents and then be the committee and then rule and set their own like overall NCAA rules for like
because
for more eligibility.
Just is so inconsistent and so just. I'm going to weigh this decision, but then I'm going to go in this direction, and with a similar situation. It's just.
I mean, what's wrong with having the conferences govern themselves? Like, you have a president of that conference.
Yes.
What's wrong with like everybody having the exact same rules? Like, it's just like it's like
NCAA.
It's almost like it's America. Like, we have a president, but you have a governor of your state. Like, we all follow the same rules, but the governor makes sure everybody follows them rules. And so, what's wrong with the college sports being governed like that? I think that would be a lot smoother. And I think for NIL's sake, that would be better off as well, and making people actually leave the sport after the 4 to 5 years.
That's not wrong. Those are some ideas. Let us know some of your ideas how to fix the transfer portal, what you would like to see done with these young men, and how to stop
their NIL money.
NIL money. One other thing I want to touch on college sports is college basketball. There was some breaking news right before we went live here to speak to you guys. Over 24 individuals, including former NBA players and even some current college basketball players, have been accused of point shaving. This is dating back from NCAA Division I men's basketball between September 22nd and February of 2025, and also rigging games in the Chinese Basketball Association. So the players that were targeted would be believed to have earned significant less NIL money, and they were allegedly offering $10,000 to $30,000 to players and coaches to fail to cover the spread in their games. This is a massive operation that has gotten over 24 individual current and former college players and former NBA players as well that have been in the league. So this is major. This is major.
I mean, like, is it a major thing? Yes, but it's so hard to prove. Like, it's hard to prove that. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm tried to miss that shot. Or what do you mean? Like, I turned down that shot. Never did I like that shot. And that's why it's always so funny to watch like bad beats when they're like, like you had it, and then like this person like for no reason puts up the shot.
It's very
to
if
make,
you
that's
are
a layup or
like
something.
a common person you could watch like the Terry Rozier situation. Like you can look at that and understand the man was doing something he wasn't supposed to do. It's hard to kind of look at some guys in college
when there's hard like when you like that like you can look at him and be like, well, this seems a little fishy, and then like the actual like evidence comes out. So okay, like what's being broken or what you're breaking and putting out there, or what the news outlets are putting out there is that potentially, probably, maybe these people out here were shaving points to hit certain bets or to be paid so people can hit certain bets, which we already know this happens. Like it's happening. It's been
around forever. Since the end of time.
And like unless there's like hard proof, or like especially this athlete came out and said, "Oh yeah, like I knew what I had to, the total had to stay under. As long as we won and we stayed under it, I'm cool. I'm good." And, but I don't know. I mean, that's
going to be a tough thing nowadays. To prove. It's going to be a tough thing to prove. We'll definitely keep you up to that investigation.
It's the part of gambling that when you gamble, that you're taking the risk on.
Yeah, it's also hard for me to understand that. Yes, certain college guys are not going to get paid money, but you're getting paid. So, like, why am I going to throw something to, like, knowing that there's potential I could upgrade in college basketball, go to, because it's all about, like, how well you perform. That looks good, so you can move up and further into a better D1 school, get more playing time, more money.
I just wish I could say that some of these people have kind of put themselves in bad situations, which is, I think, majority of them, but you have other athletes that are not in a bad situation and they're making a bunch of money, but they're like, they see an opportunity to make a larger lump sum of money, and you're like, you know what? Let's do that. Fuck my career.
Yeah. So that is everything on college sports. Moving on to the NFL, and there is a lot to cover. We're going to start with the head coaching jobs. Mike Tomlin, after 19 years, he is the third coach in the Pittsburgh Steelers history since that organization was established.
Would you like to pivot really fast? Because I got some fun news about John Harbaugh and his contract.
All right, Brandon's got some news, so we're going to pivot here real quick. Go ahead, let's give it to him.
So John Harbaugh with the Giants, it broke earlier that he was signing with the Giants, but he got a 5-year, $100 million deal done with the Giants.
20 mil.
So it's $20 million a year. He got his $20 mil.
He got his $20 mil. So 5 years. $100 million, $20 million a year. That's what he wanted. Like Brandon just said, John Harbaugh is the new head coach of the New York Giants. So Giants fans got to be feeling pretty ecstatic to a degree. You got a very solid head coach who brings a winning culture, who has culture.
But see, the thing is, though, so like, I mean, he's a culture setter. But like, I don't know much more he is than that. Like, I feel like he can develop talent.
Yes.
But like the Ravens and the organization have always drafted.
He can give you all pro players. He's gonna bring.
But I don't know if it's him or the Ravens organization, because they always seem to draft well, because like those young outside of wide receivers, whatever that may be, but they always seem to draft great O-line, D-line, and obviously, I mean, he had Joe Flacco and then Lamar. But like they draft great corners, second, they draft great defensively. They always drafted great running backs. In the trenches, they do great as well.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me, like outside of like the really culture, I don't know.
Yeah. So it's going to be very curious to see. This is going to give Harbaugh an opportunity to, what do you say? Like, it's a fresh start, but it's to really see who you are as a coach, as a leader of men as well.
So, but how do you feel though that he is now tied with Andy Reid, a 3-time Super Bowl champ,
been to multiple Super Bowls,
like six
Super Bowls. So he's been to 6 Super Bowls, won 3.
He's presumed to make $20 million per year, and now John Harbaugh is making $20 million per year. Along with Sean Payton, who is also presumed to make $20 million per year as well.
Sean Payton to me is also very, again, like you said, Brandon, we have a lot of Doc Rivers type head coaches roaming around the NFL that are living highly off of one championship that you won in the 2000 that has literally carried your career since you won that. Harbaugh got that championship that he's, and Mike Tomlin, been to 2 Super Bowls, won one, used that one. Sean Payton got that 1 Super Bowl in New Orleans, and just that was it. Those guys have legitimately lived off of a Super Bowl that they won in the early 2000s, basically.
Harbaugh got his in 2012.
Yeah, so so 2010.
And Mike Tomlin got his like 08, 09.
Yeah, they just kind of lived off it. Obviously, Sean Payton got that for New Orleans, Hurricane Katrina. We get all that. But it's like, it's just crazy how one championship can just it's the Doc Rivers effect, man. Like, we got that championship in 2008, man. Like, and you just kind of lived off that championship.
No sense.
Nothing else, maybe
a
couple AFC or NFC championship games, here and there. Mike Tomlin, never in his 19-year career with the Steelers, never a losing season, but he hasn't won a playoff game in 7 tries.
And they've been horrible blowouts.
And then they've been losing from start to finish. Like, they have not been able to control anything in the second half. And listen, you can look at the Mike Tomlin situation, like subpar quarterback play. He's dragged some teams that probably where they shouldn't have been. But it's just at a certain point when you are that level of what we think you are as a coach, I figure you should be able to drag out a win at some point. I mean, you lost to the Jags. Jags. You lost to Trevor Lawrence. Like,
I feel like the John Harbaugh, he's not a specialty of anything. He's actually a special teams coach, which is not dogging any of that, but that's a very rare commodity to have a head coach that's a special teams guy.
But he's great at getting his coordinators. He's never had a problem having.
But he sets a mantra. He sets the aura that he brings is great, and he runs the organization very well. There's no debating any of that because clearly with the Ravens he did that. But actually winning games and winning
when it matters most in big moments,
it seems like there's a something to be desired there because you can't say he didn't have talent. That's why I think John Harbaugh is the biggest thing closest to a Doc Rivers because Doc Rivers had all that talent.
But he also went to a division that is very up and down at times. Obviously, we had the first back-to-back division winner of that division for the first time ever in its history. Eagles got it back-to-back years.
Well, they did it. The Eagles are the last team to do it since they did it in 2002 and 2002.
So it's like
02 and 03.
You got, so he's got a franchise quarterback.
He went to a very weak conference.
Yes, he's got Jackson Dart. He's got Scabito. He's got a solid left tackle. He's got a premier wide receiver, Neighbors. Defense is very solid on the front line with Burns, Lawrence, and Abdul Carter. So he's got
Lawrence.
Pieces. He's got a tremendous amount of pieces there. So I'll be very curious to see. I understand his president of money was $20 million. Do I like him making $20 million? No, because Andy Reid's been to 6 Super Bowls, won 3 of them. For the last 7 years, 8 years, Andy Reid's been nothing less than an AFC Championship or a Super Bowl. So that means he was playing well in. You were not.
With 2 different quarterbacks.
Two different quarterbacks.
He did it with Alex Smith,
Patrick Mahomes, Donovan McNabb.
Well, he also took him. Also took Michael Vick. Andy Reid's done it in 2 locations, while Harbaugh's never done that. But Harbaugh has always, in my mind, has always since Andy Reid's been with the Chiefs, had always had the better talented roster, top to bottom. They always had the most Pro Bowlers selected. Almost every year was on the Ravens, and they always fell short.
Their best year was 2 years ago when they lost the Kansas City Chiefs AFC Championship game, and our best wide receiver was Juju Smith-Schuster.
Juju gave him nightmares with the Steelers, and he gave nightmares when he was on Kansas City.
I'd be very curious to see what Harbaugh can do with a young offense of guys, but a very solid defense that is just
he did bring his OC.
He did bring his OC, followed him, so they got a solid OC who's been with Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco, and stuff like that. Be able to draw up certain plays.
Dart and Lamar are quite similar quarterbacks. They're both mobile. Now,
very mobile.
Lamar Jackson is leaping bounds above Dart. No comparison, but mobility-wise.
Mobile.
But I think Dart is probably a better thrower of the football.
I think he's a better pocket passer than where Lamar was when Lamar came into the
I would
league.
almost say like Darts probably has better pocket presence than Lamar has even at this stage. Like it's just kind of
Yes.
something that like it's hard to train or like practice a pocket presence. It's just something you either got it or you don't.
But he also, Dart came from Ole Miss, learned under Lane Kiffin, got those, those great quarterback skills and stuff like that. That's why you see the oohs and the ahs from Dart when you watch him. Like, okay, like we see, okay, like a little bit of tweak.
But I
this
think
up here,
it's
like you're gonna be solid.
But I
Like,
think this is a great hiring for Dart. I think he's going to save his career from getting knocked the fuck out.
yeah,
Because the hardball was able to do that with Lamar, who was a running back quarterback.
Yes.
And Dart is a very mobile running quarterback that had a lot of concussion issues his rookie year.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to help him to learn how to get down. He's going to make him get down.
But I also think, like what you say, too, he went to a very weak division. He went to a very weak division. So that is also key. And I get it. He left the AFC and went to the NFC. It's a little bit easier on the NFC side.
Well,
keep it up.
It's weak is a loose term because like
Yes.
the Commanders are no joke.
No.
The Eagles are just kind of a funny team. The Cowboys, they're just going to be all offense. But like weak is in terms of like they don't win outside of their division. Like
No.
they kind of beat each other up, which he's used to.
Yes.
Going from he's going from a defensive juggernaut division to a more offensive friendly.
Yes. Very.
Because I think the Giants will be with him and with the staff
You're
going
going
to
to see
bring
leaps
in.
and bounds going into next year, and then the following year, I think you're going to see even a bigger splash.
I think this is the biggest win for the Giants since they won that Super Bowl.
Their last Super Bowl, which is crazy to think, but
with Tom Coughlin.
Yeah, that is.
They finally have structure, which is what he really does.
What the Giants also need. They've always lacked structure. They've lacked being held accountable. And this is a fresh start for Harbaugh, so you get to reestablish your message, flare it up a little bit, give it a little bit of some spice now.
And he's on one in big market.
He's in a big market, which curious to see how he handles the big market. That is a New York media is no fucking joke. Let's keep that 100. It's not a joke. So I'll be very curious to see how they handle it. But I'm happy for the Giants. I'm curious to see how this works. I'm going to play coach because you are being paid as a top tier guy. You are going to win a Super Bowl. And so I am going to be paying close attention to how we look. But it's 5 years. Harbaugh spent 19 or 18 years with the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not saying he's going to spend that with the Giants, but I expect him to live out that full 5 years of that deal and possibly a little bit longer, potentially how it goes. That's just my mind and where it goes because of where you were for so long.
Honestly, I would love. This. So on a completely different side of where my mind went. I would love for another Harbaugh Bowl.
That would be.
I would definitely not be rooting for the Chargers. I'd be definitely rooting for the Giants to win. But I would definitely be here for another Harbaugh Bowl.
Let him get his brother again for the second time.
Did he switch divisions? She has on the NFC side.
I think for Harbaugh, going to the NFC was the smart move. It was the smart move, no matter how you.
Well, you get away from the Josh, and you get away from
the
Mahomes.
Patricks, and you go to the NFC, which again is a little bit lighter of the two of the AFC and the NFC. It's a little bit easier, but I'm happy for Harbaugh. He was the first coach to land a deal going into the second round of the playoffs, which is unheard of.
I feel like it's really unheard of.
Very unheard of.
I feel like teams kind of like the Raiders,
because
the Raiders, Titans, Giants.
Yeah, you got Steelers, Ravens, Browns, Titans, Falcons, Cardinals, Raiders, Dolphins.
Well, the Titans, they fired their head coach.
Yes.
And the Browns, the Giants, they fired their head coach. A lot of those two teams fired their head coach during the season. A lot of those times, those teams are one of the first few teams to after their season's over to grab their coach.
We're bringing him in. We're doing an interview, but that's all really the chatter's been. The Harbaugh to the Giants was honestly a little crazy because there was just chatter. There was no, and then so that domino being dropped was okay, wow, didn't really see that one coming. We knew it was a possibility, but it's just more of it's just a lot of, I'm bringing this guy in, I'm bringing this guy in. It's just a lot of just little talking right now. There's just not a whole lot of buzz this guy's landing here. So, but
But I mean, like there was a lot of names that could have fallen. Like Mike Tomlin was a potential name that he could have stepped down. He could have been fired. He could have been, asked for his release or stepped down. He ended up stepping down. Matt LaFleur could end up in and on the market on the Packers, so that job can become available.
It's still on the table. They got to figure out the contract.
Well, it sounds like he's going to be there. I mean, like
it's sounding trending in the direction of Matt LaFleur will be still in Green Bay, just working on contract. But happy for Harbaugh. Moving on to, we're going to start with the Steelers. So after their playoff loss, which we'll get into in a minute, after 19 years with that organization, he decided to step down. Now, why is that important? He was not fired. He stepped down. Now, the rumor mill is, go ahead.
So, since he stepped down and he had 1 year left on his deal, any team that would want him in the 2026-2027 season would have to trade for him. But any time after the 2027 season is over, he would then be a free agent.
He would be a free agent. So you'd have to wait almost 2 seasons, correct?
Yes.
So you'd have to almost wait 2 seasons to have Harbaugh. Now, the rumor mill for Mike Tomlin, as we've seen it.
And the last quarterback, or not last quarterback, the last head coach that was traded via picks was when the Broncos traded for Sean Payton from the Saints ahead of the 2023 NFL season. They were sent a first-round pick for a head coach and a 2024 fourth-round pick for Payton.
Overpaid, but
I mean, like, they gave up a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick for a head coach.
So, like, that's a little
I'm kind of curious to see what Mike Tomlin might actually get. Never a losing season. I'm curious to see what...
That's at least 2 first-round picks, right? Minimum, right? Minimum? Like, that's
he's been to 2 Super Bowls and has won 1, so, I mean...
Like, yeah.
Never losing season. I got to be at least a 1 and, like, a 2.
2. So, but Mike Tomlin is looking like he's probably going to go into media for at least a season. 1 year is what it's looking like. And then after that, he will reevaluate if he wants to get back into coaching or not. So it's a tough thing. And I think him in media is actually not bad. He knows the game very well. Like, let's not act like this man doesn't know the game. But the Mike Tomlin situation's an odd one because if you're going to want him at all, you're going to have to trade for him. And like Brandon just said, saw what Sean Payton commented on the market. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season in 19 years. So, like, that's...
With no quarterback the past,
10.
Past 5-6 years, he hasn't really had a quarterback.
But, yeah, that one's a weird one. But I guess, Brandon, the question is, what is the most desirable job for a head coach outside of the Giants? Because obviously now that one is gone.
Apparently, clearly, the Giants was the most appealing job because that's where the most appealing, the most wanted head coach and John Harbaugh went. I personally feel like it has to be the Ravens. The Ravens has to be the most appealing job. You have a plethora of talent. You have a stable franchise, a stable owner.
Yep.
And you have the biggest of all, you have Lamar Jackson. So I would say that one has to be,
and potentially still Derrick Henry.
Well, if you bring Derrick Henry back, depending on what you want the scheme to look like.
Yes.
But outside of them, I would probably honestly have to say that the Cardinals' job is the second most intriguing job to land. Now, you don't necessarily have the franchise guy, but you have offensive talent,
Marvin
and you
Harrison
have very
Jr.,
young defensive talent, and it's a tougher division.
Yes.
Than what you...
Very tough.
But
division.
I think you ooze a lot of talent, and you ooze cap space.
Yeah, but NFC West is no joke.
But if I had to give my third one, would be the Falcons. You still have Kirk Cousins, technically. I don't know what you feel about Michael Penix, but you have such a great explosive offense.
Yeah, you have a plethora of talent again, and
defensively. I think they just need a defense, like a defensive minded coach, and bring in a solid
linebackers
OC.
And maybe a strong safety. And I think they're solid.
I mean, but that's nitpicking defensively.
Yeah, you're very nitpicky defensively.
Because the Falcons have always kind of struggled to have a great
I
defense.
would also like to throw out potentially the Titans or the Browns. For the simple fact, the Browns have a very solid defense. Don't give up 300-yard passing. You got Myles Garrett, the sack king. Offensively, young guys need the right fit offensively for those guys. Now, the Titans' job is intriguing because you have $100+ million to spend. So you have money to go get potentially something to put
They
together.
did that last offseason. They opened the checkbook and they brought in guys, and it
did not work out. They got Calvin Ridley being one of those guys.
But I mean, they got Cam Ward.
Got money.
I mean, they have Cam Ward, which is an intriguing piece to it.
Worst job out there, is it the Dolphins or the Raiders job? Which is the worst job out there that would be potentially how are you going to convince someone to come in and take this job to revamp an organization that is in some turmoil? When you think about the Dolphins,
I think it got to be the Dolphins.
Is it the Dolphins?
It has to be the Dolphins. You're cap struck in a bunch of different ways. You're just stuck in limbo. That has to be. If I was coming in and coaching that team, I would pretty much would want to hit the whole reset button. And the Titans, Raiders, Cardinals, Giants, Browns, Steelers, Ravens, and Falcons, you don't have to reset them. They're just missing maybe a quarterback, or they're missing, they're needing a piece
a
or
structure
there
or something. The
to kind of get them going.
Like the Dolphins are kind of missing a whole lot. We got players that don't come to meetings on time. No structure. No.
You're in quarterback cap hell.
Oh yeah.
You have money spinning everywhere. You give up
an aging
capital,
roster to a degree,
and
you
have a very aging roster as well defensively. And offensively, you don't really have
and you're in the AFC East too. Like it's a very
with the Bills and
the
Patriots.
Jets,
but
and
Jets. The Jets suck. I mean, if the Jets was available to be a pick, they would be the worst team to have.
Yeah,
because that owner makes that team undesirable to have. But the Dolphins, it has to be a hard reset. And I mean, it'd be a fire sale in the offseason, moving off of contracts, and you'd be hopefully and praying that the owner allow you 3 to 4 years to flip the team. Because that's, in my mind, what the Dolphins need to do. They need a hard, fresh reboot and just cut everything, trade everything, and it's not bolted down, get rid of it.
Absolutely. So moving on to the playoffs and the games, I actually have the viewership from the games. We're going to start, before we get to that, we're going to start on the NFC side because that's where we need to start. And we're going to start with the Rams and the Panthers. Game was a lot closer than what I thought it was going to be personally. Rams won that game 34-31, and it took a game-winning drive and a hell of a throw and a hell of a catch by the tight end to win that game. I don't know which was impressive, the placement or the catch in the turn-up field that you just get the touchdown. That was a beautiful throw. Beautiful catch. Rams came out with that game. What did you learn? Is there anything that concerns you about the Rams going forward into round 2 from the Panthers game, beating them by 3?
Matthew Stafford's either going to win you the game or he's going to throw you out of the game. But if he's hot, and that offense is high flying.
How do we feel about this defense? This is a defense.
This defense is optimistic. It's a bend but don't break type of defense. They to me they had a great game plan, and then after halftime the Panthers tweaked a couple things and they just never adjusted to what the Panthers that they tweaked. But they're young and they're hungry, and they run to the ball in drones.
34-31, Rams got that game. They are moving on to round 2. Next game up we got to talk about was the Bears and the Packers. And before we get too much into that game, obviously the Bears won that game 31-27, which was wild because when I went to sleep, Packers were up tremendously. Packers blew 25 points in the fourth quarter. Ouch. That's the 4th largest comeback in history in the playoffs. But this is the first time that the Bears have beaten the Packers since 1941. God damn. And what's crazy about that is here's the thing, the average cost of a home, 1941, $3,000. Minimum wage was 36.
Damn, well.
Mount Rushmore was just sculptured. Cheerios were just invented. There were only 10 teams in the NFL. That's how long it's been since the Bears were able to get the Packers in the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. And listen, the Packers, you had an interesting stat about the Packers about blowing leads here, didn't you?
Yes, from 19. So The Packers are the first NFL team since the 1970 merger to lose 3 games when leading by 10 or more points in the final 5 minutes of the game, including playoffs. So from 1970 to 2024, they were 306 wins to 1 loss. This season, 6-3.
Not good. We did talk about Matt LaFleur's job being maybe up in the air. It's looking like that's not going to be the case. They're just trying to figure out contract. Looks like he's going to remain there in Green Bay. Is that a good decision by Green Bay to keep him there?
I think it's tough to keep him. I really do. Like, you can't have the kind of season that you had this year where you should have been.
You should have won.
You should have had a lot more wins, and you should have beat the Bears. You can't give up an 18-point lead like this, whether it's on the road or not. And it's potentially a telltale sign and a tailspin. Now I think they need to do something with a defensive coordinator. And I think it's going to be eventually the fall guy will be the DC, because that defense is too talented. Now, granted, Michael went down, and that defense the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season was not the same.
Yeah.
But like, one guy can't go down and change the whole complexion of how your defense looks.
Is there anything you could take away for the Bears? Obviously, they're moving on to the next round.
I don't know. I don't understand the Bears. That defense isn't good. They get turnovers, but they're not good. They give up a lot of points, but they do get interceptions. They're ball hawkers.
Yes.
But that offense is not like...
Caleb Williams is not accurately good.
They're so inconsistent. It's hard to understand how they win games, but they are somehow always in games, and then the Pope makes a prayer, and then they come back and they win by 3. I don't know. I think this is kind of, I don't want to say like a flash in the pan for them this year, but like, I don't really trust Caleb Williams to. I mean, like, he can make the big play, but I don't know if he goes against, like, this weekend against the Rams is going to be a big telltale sign of what you really do have in him with the weather and the bigger moment. Like, I think he can step up to the big moment, but like, he is just so inconsistent. I don't know if you can trust that. When you're
getting about 48% accuracy, that's not.
When you have the lowest completion percentage out of old quarterbacks in the NFL, that's kind of a problem.
Yeah. Last thing on that game, did you have a problem with the post-game handshake?
I did. I did.
Ben Johnson ran through, gone, baby. That is.
If it was regular season, I would have felt a little bit different. Then you're like, yep. I don't know, pretty much like, gotcha, bitch. But it's the postseason, like, and it was a hard-fought comeback behind win from the Bears.
That shit was wild.
And I get there's like bad blood between both of them, but he could have came up to him like a man, shook his hand, and then been gone.
That was wild.
And then it was a drive-by handshake and gone. I'm like, where the fuck this bitch go? Get your ass back here, you little bitch.
That was
I lost a lot of respect for Ben Johnson for that. I'm like, dude, that's a bitch move.
It was very interesting. Moving on to the next game of the NFC, the Niners and Eagles. Shout out to the Niner faithful. Shout out to the Niner organization for handling the Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, shout out Christian McCaffrey. In my opinion, should still be in the MVP conversation. Should have a serious consideration for the MVP, in my personal opinion. They did lose George Kittle, torn Achilles. He's done, so that's just another injury to add to Kyle Shanahan's blemish that he's had to deal with.
So there's a theory behind there that where they practice and where the stadium is at is not right next to, but it's adjacent to a power plant that gives off radiation.
Oh shit!
Well, I mean, power plants give off radiation.
Yes.
They give off radiation. Like, you can't, like, it's just kind of part of a power plant. But studies show that the certain amount of radiation is putting off, it weakens tissue. Which also is, like muscles and your tendons and ligaments.
Did not know.
And so people are coming out and say, well, the reason why the 49ers have always had the most injuries
is because of the power
since
play.
they've moved there is because of they're being so close consistently day in and day out, 9 months out of the year, practicing right next and absorbing all this radiation. It's breaking down their body little by little, making them a little bit more fragile.
That's a solid thing. That's definitely something that you'd have to definitely consider.
I feel like they didn't think this through when
maybe it's time
they moved there.
Maybe it's time to move that. But Kyle Shanahan, in my opinion, is coach of the year. I don't know how you can't be coach of the year with all these injuries, being where you're at currently, moving on to the next round. If you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I think you're happy that the season's over. I think you're happy that you lost because how do you keep having multiple games where you don't even get more than 30 yards in the second half? We're not completing passes. We're not getting first downs. We got head coaches charging your star wide receiver for no absolute reason. And it just was a very bad year. And it did seem like Nick Sirianni has lost his power again to pick a coordinator. They have stripped that power from him. So he will not be picking no OC. So Eagle fans should be kind of, happy about that because when he doesn't pick an OC, it seems like you end up in a Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens. But what do you make of these two teams? We'll give you the Eagles. Like obviously, AJ Brown's probably going to be traded.
Yeah, I think AJ Brown.
Coordinators are gone.
Well, I think the DC will probably be better. I think the OC's already been fired.
Yeah, OC.
The DC will be retained. He did a great job this year, in my opinion. And I think this is my prediction of the downfall of the Eagles slowly coming. I don't foresee like Saquon Barkley did not look like Saquon Barkley. No. There's rumors out there that Jalen Hurts can't run certain offensive packages because he struggles with them.
Yeah.
With that being said, I didn't trust the Eagles all year long. I didn't trust them in the playoffs. They're one and done, and losing AJ Brown's going to be huge.
Yeah,
frees up about $20 million in cap space when they trade him, which will help with their cap issues. But overall, the writing's on the wall for the Eagles fans. Like I don't think next year is going to be overly great. I think they'll be swimming around the wild card sub 500 slot.
That's fair. The Rams. Panthers brought in $28 million in viewership. That was the lowest one. The Bears and Packers brought in $31.6 million. That was third in viewership. And the Niners, Eagles brought in the most viewership at $41 million. They were number one. So the numbers fit about where I thought they would fit personally in those games. Moving on to the AFC side. Starting with the Steelers and the Houston Texans. Listen, the defense this was a boring game. Obviously, CJ Stroud managed the game like he was supposed to. The defense scored points, and
I disagree with you. I don't think he managed the game. He couldn't do shit in that game.
Well, he just managed. He did nothing. He didn't make the turnover.
The offense didn't do nothing. Well, he had turnovers. He had fumbles.
Well, the
Steelers created some. The offense for the Steelers just couldn't get anything going either. When you have a scoop and score touchdown, a pick six touchdown,
they got 14 points,
which is good enough to beat the Steelers 6-14. Like the best thing the Texans really kind of had was the run game in spurts.
Yeah,
that offense for the Texans with CJ Stroud did not look great.
No,
the score manipulates how close this game really was.
No, it was nothing. The score didn't get out of hand until the fourth quarter. It's really where it really took off was the fourth quarter. Defense kind of came alive, and obviously the Steelers just couldn't muster anything up, unfortunately.
I'm standing here saying now, if they would have went and got themselves another weapon outside,
number 2 wide receiver,
I think this would be looking at a different
outcome
in this matchup.
Next matchup on the AFC side was the Patriots and Chargers, and it was a boring game for both teams. Not great either way, but Justin Herbert is overrated. Very overrated. This is his third playoff game. Can't even really crack 200 yards. No touchdowns. Getting sacked. Yes, you can make excuses. There was injuries and whatnot, but at a certain point,
you can't give nobody the excuses when the premier guy, the number one quarterback, and the number one team usually in the league, and the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes doesn't get that excuse that I'm missing my O-line, I'm missing my skill guys.
But that's the excuse.
They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that Herbert was missing some of his own line or some of these guys were hurt. You put up 3 points. That's sad.
Very sad. Not much to really say. Moving on to the next game was a dogfight. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills versus Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. Buffalo got the game done 27-24. Josh Allen took a beating.
Josh Allen put the cape on.
He did. He became Superman to the fullest degree.
He even floated for 10 yards on the tush push.
Went to the tent 3 times?
3 times. He went for a concussion, which he always seems in the playoffs. He always goes to the tent for a concussion, but never magically has a concussion.
No.
I just know that dude, maybe he sniffed some markers back in the day in school because the dude kind of seems like he always is a little concussed. But he went for concussion, went for his knee or ankle, and then his hand.
Yep. But, we knew ultimately if it came down to the Jags having to go down, we were not going to trust Trevor Lawrence. And it showed. He panicked in a game, in a big moment, and threw an interception. He panicked.
As soon as the Josh Allen floated for 10 yards on the tush push down the 1 yard line, and then they punched in and scored, I was like, oh, yeah, this game is over. Very first play, they dropped back. Boom, pick. I was like, yep. I'm not surprised.
Right. I was not surprised, but
it was a great year though for the Jags.
Yes, it was.
And the first year head coach and
Liam Cohen did a great job.
Duval.
Yeah.
Dude, I still understand.
Still don't get it. Still don't understand.
Really but
I
know
shout out
that's
to the
where
Jags. Obviously, Travis Hunter, their top pick, went down early in the season, unfortunately.
Fun fact that they still do expect him to play both sides
ways going into next year. I'd be very curious to see, Trevor Lawrence actually had probably one of his better statistical seasons.
He had not even statistically, just overall. He
had a much better
year.
Season.
But I think Trevor Lawrence, if he repeats kind of the same stuff next year, we kind of
the Jags changed so much with getting Jacoby Myers, which I was completely wrong about. I was, and it changed the offense for them. Brian Thomas Jr., him. I do think they need to get a little bit better at the running back position. Be able to have a little bit of ground and pound, take a little bit of pressure off. But outside of that, the defense is young. They got great guys over there. Maybe nitpick a little bit here and there, but
they're definitely a team to
watch out
on next year.
But Josh Allen went Superman, and that's what he does in the playoffs.
Yep.
That's what Josh Allen does. That's what you expect from Josh Allen, and he got it done. He did not lose. So. Viewership.
First road win for him.
First road win for him and the Buffalo Bills organization ever. So shout out to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills organization. Jacksonville brought in $32.7 million. That was number 2 in viewership. $29.1 million was the Steelers in Houston. That was 4th. And then the Chargers brought in with the Patriots $28.9 million. That was 2nd to last on the list. So the viewership was about in order, pecking
order. That's not the Patriots' fault.
No.
It's really the Chargers don't have a fan base.
No, they don't have a fan base. But the viewership, where we thought it was going to be 100%. But going in to round 2, I expect viewership to probably be about the same for some of these games, maybe a little bit up. But going into round 2, we're going to go back to the NFC side. We got the Niners and we got the Seattle Seahawks. Brandon, how do we see this game going? I think this is going to be interesting. I think a lot is riding on Sam Darnold's shoulders here. I think that's what it comes down to for Seattle.
I think in my mind, I think Seattle wins. Seattle's favored by 7 at home, number 1 seed. There's so much pressure on Sam Darnold. He's had 2 big games this year during the regular season that he showed up. He looked the part.
Yes.
But in both those games, everything that could go right for the offense and controlling the pace went right. The team from beginning to end pretty much kind of controlled it. He made some throws when he needed to make some throws. Didn't make the big mistake in either of those 2 games. And this would be the same scenario here. I think the Seahawks offense is explosive. And they'll be able to take advantage of the depleted Niners defense. But I don't know necessarily if the Niners offense will be able to keep pace if they can have the run game going for Seattle. The Seattle monster they have can go, and Sam Darnold doesn't have to lead. If Sam Darnold has to lead the charge, if Sam Darnold has to lead the charge, the 49ers will win the game. The 49ers sell out to stop the run will be their best bet to win this game.
And if the Niners have any chance to win, Christian McCaffrey is going to have to go Superman himself.
Juwan Jennings could throw another touchdown.
He could.
He has 2 passing touchdowns, which is More than Justin Herbert.
Yep.
So tied with Justin Herbert.
Tied with Justin Herbert, which is sad, but
because one's a quarterback, one's a wide receiver.
Yeah. So like it's, but if you're the Niners, I mean, this is going to be a tough game for you. Christian McCaffrey is going to have to be flawless in the run and the receiving game. Like he's going to have to be.
That's all you got.
That's all you really
that's
got.
All they had all year, and it's worked out.
Yeah.
But Brock Purdy's actually in every game that he's played in the postseason, minus the game that he got hurt, and then in the Super Bowl, he had the lead when he left the field. He is outside of those two, he is undefeated.
Yep. So this is going to be a game. I also have Seattle winning this game. I have them winning by damn near a touchdown as well. It's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a grinded out run. If you're Seattle, you got to run the ball with your two-headed monster, and then start your play action. Get Smith going, Cooper Kupp, and them soft in and out routes in the zone. And if you're the Niners, you're just kind of hoping that Sam Darnold makes a mistake, and you can capitalize on it offensively. That's really what it's going to come down to.
Like I said, man, I feel like the Niners sell out and they can stop the run. I think the Niners will win that game if they can hold the Seahawks under 100 rushing yards.
Yep. Next game up for the NFC, we got the Rams and Bears. Now, this game is going to be interesting. We are in Chicago for this game. It's going to be massively cold.
And snow.
It's going to work out a little bit in Chicago's favor here, so we got to take that a little bit of consideration for the Rams. But how do you see this game playing out? Because this is a weird game. The Bears are weird. The Rams should dominate this game.
The Rams, I don't know about dominate. The Rams should win. I trust Sean McVay more, and I trust Matthew Stafford more. And I'm feeling like I'm getting a tingle that they're not going to throw the ball. They're going to beat the shit out of them with their two-headed monster out of the backfield as well. And Matthew Stafford will snatch their soul when it matters the most, and they'll get it done.
Because the Bears, like we've talked about, the Bears like to be ball hawking. Sometimes that can get you burnt, and that's literally what the Rams are looking to be able to do.
Right, and I think if the Rams come out and they can establish the line of scrimmage and they can run the ball, they can pound the ball, and they can get into that play action, Matthew Stafford, he can still whip it. In that win, it will be fine. Puka, Devontae Adams, Higbee, I think they will be able to. They'll factor into it.
10+ Rams.
I mean, that's maybe. I don't know. Maybe
it's just tough to count out the Bears if the Pope decides to go prayer mode, and then
it is. It's hard to say.
Really, for the Rams, it's just don't blow it in the fourth quarter, because that seems when the Bears really show up is the fourth quarter with about 6 minutes to go.
If the Rams have 0 turnovers, the Rams win the game.
Yeah.
Because honestly though, the Bears really don't have a bruising back, which is weird to be in that kind of element and not have kind of like a bruiser or a secondary back that can come in.
That's fair.
Behind Swift.
Yep. AFC side, we're going to start with the Patriots and the Houston Texans. This one's a funny game in the instance of Houston relies so much on their defense. But Mike Vrabel, I feel like he's going to have a game plan with that offensive line to try to – so they have a two-headed monster themselves in a running game. And if they can establish that running game early on first and second down, you're not third and long so that they're not bringing the house on you. That bodes well beautifully for the New England Patriots and Drake May, who's never really faced a defense like this. But when you can run the ball like New England, that's going to shut down any pass rush, because – when you think about Houston, they're trying to get to the quarterback. They're not really, their run defense is okay. It's not the greatest, but, what's your thoughts? Well,
I agree a lot with what you said, but
I don't trust C.J. Stroud in their offense.
That's the biggest thing. I don't trust the Texans' offense or C.J. Stroud. Both defenses are great. The Texans have a little bit better pass rush than the Patriots, but I trust more in Mike Vrabel, and I think he's going to protect Drake May.
Yes.
And he's not going to put him in a situation to potentially have a bad game.
I think you're going to see a shotgun, 2 running back set, and they're just going to kind of play handoff, whichever running back, whoever, and just go and attack. That's why first and second down is going to be very key for the New England Patriots.
I just kind of feel like this game is giving me kind of like whoever can kind of get the advantage on special teams will potentially be the team that actually comes out ahead, because they both have great defenses. Drake May is young. C.J. has been here a bit longer. I trust the Patriots offense a little bit more they don't have that firepower.
I
out
honestly
wide,
just kind of trust
but
Mike Vrabel way more in this situation right now over DeMar.
he definitely controls. I think he's going to control the game, and was going to lead the Patriots to have the ball last, and which will lead to getting the win.
And then last game up to talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos here. There's not much more to say about the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen's going to have to be Superman.
Considering they only have 3 wide receivers that are healthy.
And then James Cook, I'm going to need you to show up. Like, you got to show up this time. Now, if you put your thinking caps on, you think back to last year, these two teams met in the playoffs, and Buffalo 31-7 these boys. And this is basically the same roster for the Denver Broncos.
And Bills.
And the Bills, for the most part. So, obviously, the Broncos have a stellar defense, which we know. But Josh Allen just doesn't make mistakes in the playoffs. And I'm going to ride with the guy that time and time again gets it done. And none of his kryptonites are in his way. They're not there.
I'm on the Bills Mafia train on this one. The Denver's favored by 1.5. They're home, so it's a pick-me game. But I wouldn't be surprised if they get it by 2 scores. I think James Cook is going to go off. Broncos they have a solid defense, but not like a Texans defense or a Patriots defense.
Well, their run defense isn't great. Like
they're gettable.
They're very gettable.
And I think if they can get James Cook going, I think it's going to help kind of open up.
And I don't trust the Bo Nix offense that Sean Payton him have. It's just not great. It's very stale at times. And this is a big moment. And Bo Nix is a winner. He's done it over the past 2 seasons. But in big moments, we just haven't seen the young man. When you're always having to come from behind, in 12 of your 14 wins, you've had to come back down double digits. You give a double digits to Josh Allen in the playoffs,
he's not giving.
He's not giving that back, man.
I think what we're really trying to say is, I trust Josh.
I trust Josh way more.
Mahomes is not here. Mahomes is not in this playoffs. The Kansas City Chiefs are not in this playoffs. The Kryptonite's not there, and the Bills are going to take care of business in this game.
So as Brandon and I both agree, we have for an AFC championship game, we are rocking with it's going to be Buffalo and the New England Patriots, a divisional game that is going to be an absolute banger if that is what we get for an AFC championship game.
Ooh, yeah.
Because those two teams that we've seen this year were a solid playoff atmosphere game. Then on the NFC side, we have a Seattle Rams matchup, which will be a solid matchup as well. And but those are our picks for the NFL playoffs, and we'll be looking forward to going over those games with you guys next week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys next week.